Hi, everybody. We weren't ready to start yet. I was going to wait another 3 minutes, but oh my gosh, Jesse and Rachel, thank you so much for the raid. That is amazing. So, everyone who's coming in, my name is Sam. I went by Momo Blue before, so if you hear Momo, that's me also. And I also stream crafting, sometimes video games. My latest crafts have been, oh, I have some here to show you. I've been working on a custom Switch case. There we go. For one of my viewers for a giveaway prize. And here are the fronts of those just so you can see. Alex says there's no Sam, only Momo. But also these Master Ball covers. But today is something special. I'm going to be streaming an interview with a creator. And I would think that Jesse and Rachel have mentioned that they're going to be the next guests on Creator Chats. But today, we are going to be chatting with the lovely, the amazing Seskimo. And for those of you who don't know Seskimo, and thank you everyone for the follows. I can't keep up with all of these. Pronky, thank you for the bits. Oh my gosh, you all. Thank you so much. My overlay is not in the right spot. There we go. Okay, yeah, actually the corner makes sense. There we go. Thank you everyone for the follows. That is so generous. Okay, okay, I think I'm caught up now. But today we are going to be chatting with Seskimo. Seskimo is primarily an emote artist, and I'll let her tell you more about herself. But Seskimo, are you ready? So we're just jumping in early, but oh, thanks so much, Ruth. You go by Ruth? I appreciate it. But let's just get into it since everybody's here. Let's see. Bam! Technology. Seskimo, how are you doing? I am good, thank you. Seskimo and I have been on video chat for a little bit, getting everything set up, and it actually worked okay. And you're muted. How's this?
Oh,
Can you hear Seskimo now?
can you hear me? Hello?
If that's the only issue we have tonight, then I am extremely happy. Yay!
There we
Okay,
go.
awesome. But everyone, thank you so much for coming in. Everyone who followed, thank you. I'm gonna just try to get through this really quickly, and then we'll get to our chat with Seskimo. But we have Ivan, Red, Marvelous Dominion, Liz, Devil Girl, KP Birdman, Spark Dog, Pronky again. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate that so much. And Emma, Cute Cat, Ruth, and Genix. Thank you all so much. But yes, Seskimo. Basically, we start off these chats and pulling up my notes too, with learning a little bit about yourself and just learning about your life before Twitch, what brought you to streaming, and what types of making and crafting you do.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Seskimo. I, as Momo said, I am primarily a Twitch emote artist. I've been doing this for nearly a year now. It'll be my year anniversary of being a freelance artist in March 10th, because we're already in March. But I don't know where this year's gone already. And before Twitch and before all that, I was just an admin in a job. I've been doing art all my life. I started doing digital art when I was about 16, and I've just been doing digital art like for far too many years now. I won't tell you how old I am now, but far too many years now. Yeah, so I came to Twitch. It started off. I obviously I was someone who just came and watched people, usually just watching my friends. Primarily just my gaming friends to begin with, because I wasn't really. I knew there was the kind of crafting scene, but I wasn't quite into it. And then I got made redundant from my admin job, and I decided that I would go freelance. It just ended up being the perfect time for me to go freelance. So I went in the deep end, and I had this time during the day, so I started watching other people doing stuff. It started off with Laser Geek Creations. Laser. Did I say Laser Greek or did I say Laser Geek? I can't remember.
I think you said geek.
Cool. That's cool. I said the right name. Um, and he's a real life friend as well. So I was kind of watching him because that's kind of I would just watch my friends to begin with, and I was like, oh, this is a really nice community. Like I actually was, really getting on with people and stuff, and I thought Twitch might be a good way for people to see me do my art. I wasn't really planning on being too interactive because I'm very nervous being on camera. Um, so I was kind of my plan was to just be someone who like was in the background just drawing, and people might come by and see my art, and maybe someone might go, oh, I like your art, can I commission you? um, Anyone who knows me knows that that kind of went downhill. I'm notorious for never getting art done on my art streams because I'm always chatting.
Wait, you
um,
mean a maker who chats and doesn't get anything done? That never
I
happens.
know, I know, right? They're all so productive and they get so much done. I was warned that productivity goes down like 70% uh, when you start streaming, but I didn't believe it until I started doing it. Um, so yeah, so that was me. I kind of came on and I've stuck around because the community is great, and I've got this lovely little community around me who are always picking on me. They're notorious trolls in my channel, but they're lovely trolls. They're the good kind of trolls, not the bad kind of trolls. So that's kind of me on Twitch.
That's awesome. And you mentioned that you started digital art when you were 16.
Yes, yes,
What type of materials did you start with? Because I know a lot of people use iPads now, and
yeah.
I know
So I
people
was,
use like I've heard of Wacom tablets, but I
yeah,
don't know what else is there.
I had a Wacom Intuos 4. It was one of like it's a kind of a slate one. So you draw on a pad and you have to look at the screen. And it was about. I mean, it wasn't even that big. The drawings was like that big. And it was. Sorry, there's cats.
You're welcome to show the cats. We love cats.
I'm sure they'll come back in a minute. Yeah, and I started off with that, and I had that for years until pretty much until about maybe about 10 years ago. I swapped to an actual monitor, Cintiq, Wacom Cintiq. I had a massive sort of 24-inch, which sadly broke.
Oh no.
We were doing some moving of furniture, and unfortunately, it went down and smashed. And so I had to replace it with a slightly smaller one. But yeah, so I currently use a Cintiq 13 HD is my current digital tablet. So I would love to have like well I'm a bit kind of I'm not a big Apple fan, but I would like an iPad just to use stuff like Procreate because that seems to be what everyone's using at the moment. So, um, but I'd love something more portable. But right now, this is my baby here.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful. And with the tablets, like with an iPad, you're drawing directly on the screen where your art is, and where like you can see where your pen is, and it's directly there.
yeah,
How long does it take to get used to something like the other types of tablets where you're writing on your desk, but it's showing up on your screen?
it's I mean it is it's very kind of I mean it took me a while to get used to it, and it's kind of one of those things though. It's like I suppose it's a bit like if gaming where you're moving the mouse but you're watching the screen, and your mind knows that what's on the screen is your hand. You kind of get used to it like that. It's just you have to be a bit more refined, so it can take a little bit longer. But I think it's different for some people as well. Some people can just pick it up easily, and some people find it a lot more difficult. And I took it. It did take me at least a couple of months to really get kind of almost like second nature to it. So yeah, kind of different for different people, I'd
That makes
say.
sense. That's just something I was curious about because I'm so impressed when I see people using them, and describing it like a mouse makes sense, but at the
Yeah,
same time, to me, it's just, it doesn't connect.
yeah. No, it is. I mean, in all fairness, I don't think I could go back to using those. Just because I love the ease of just having it straight on the screen now. But I do know some people actually do prefer those to the screen. for various reasons, just like portability and stuff like that. But no, I definitely want to stick with my monitor ones from now on.
I don't blame you at all. And so you do make a lot of emote art now. What kind of art
Yeah,
did you start out with? What kind of things did you like to draw? Did you even draw to begin with? What was your kind of progression of your art, do you think?
yeah. So, well, in my head, when I kind of jumped straight into the kind of commission freelancing, my head was because I was coming from an area where most of the people that I hung out with on like Twitter and Facebook groups, they were all art groups. And what seemed to be the big thing there was doing sort of what's called an OC or an original character, where people basically commission, like they have like these ideas of characters in their head that they want, either for just like random stories that they have, or D&D characters, gaming characters, and they would get people commissioning those. So that was kind of where I had seen most commissions in the kind of area coming from. So in my head, that would be what I thought I was going to be doing. Um, but when I kind of really went into it, um, my first commission was actually some character sketches. But like one of my first really big commissions was actually somebody wanted some illustrations for a children's book that they
Oh
were
wow.
writing for it wasn't going to be published. It was just a personal one for her husband to read to their daughter. And she just wanted some illustrations that was about him and his work and stuff. So she commissioned me a few of those. And that was good. That had some things that like basically this first year, I've been saying yes to everything. Um, so I was just like, because she was like, I need you to draw a building. And I'm notoriously not good at drawing buildings. But I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. And it ended up being it's still my most favorite commission piece was this massive building, um, which is just, it took a lot longer than I was expecting it to, but I'm so proud of how that worked out. And other things I've done logos. I've done Laser Geeks logo.
Oh.
I've done a logo for QCat. I've done a logo for a travel company. So I've done quite a few logos and things like that. So basically, it's just I've gone a more broader than I realized I was going to, which is great, and it's really helped me understand what I'm good at and what I like doing. But I mean, the Twitch emotes they are without a doubt one of my favorite kind of commissions. I absolutely love getting Twitch emote commissions because it's so nice, just kind of seeing them everywhere. As narcissistic as that is, it's like you see people using them. People you don't even know who are using them because they follow the person who's commissioned you, and it's like, that's mine. I did
I don't blame you
that.
for a second. It must be so rewarding to see people enjoying them. And I asked the chat to throw their emotes that they have made by you in the chat. And for those of you who don't know, for some reason I'm obsessed with Laser Geeks eggs. For whatever reason, and they're in the chat. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, some of your emotes on the
Yeah.
TOS. We have some from
Oh,
29 Fireflies, from Worked Lettuce 3, and they're so fun. I'm all about a good hype emote. This is fantastic. Oh, the sad Jenix. That
it's
is so
funny actually.
awesome.
My emotes, I'm so lazy. Like I did, those were like my first emotes that I did just to kind of do some practice and stuff. And I just keep going, I really need to update them and make them better. But like everyone loves the TOS emote. Like that's like everyone's told me I'm not allowed to change that at all. That has to stay now.
Community
Uh,
overruled you.
yeah, exactly. Which, is their want. I'm not going to change it. I'm afraid of riots. But yeah, but I like it's just so much fun seeing, and it's so fun as well seeing like having people come and kind of go, okay, I want this, and I want that, and you're like, yes, I can probably do that for you. Let's see if I can do it.
We'll give it a
But
try.
it's yeah, exactly. We'll have a go. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. Gosh, these are amazing. And one thing I'm really interested in learning is when you're creating an emote, how do you approach it differently than you would a logo or another type of design that you would make?
Yeah, so with emotes, obviously, you have to make it so that when it goes small, it's still somewhat legible. Obviously, there's some limitations because you're literally working with 28 pixels at its smallest. So what I usually do, like in terms of the actual layout of how I work, I'll have like a big screen where I'm working big, and then I'll have a second view, which I've shrunk down,
Oh.
which just helps me keep an eye. Because a lot of emote artists use vector art, but I don't. I prefer the freedom that I get from doing raster art, which is kind of just normal drawing rather than using like lines and the mathematical equations that vector uses and things like that. You don't use the maths, but the software uses the maths. I'm not good at maths, but so I do raster, which the reason people prefer vector is because it can resize really well, like down like at any size. Because, like I say, it uses maths as like the way that it figures things out rather than pixels. So a lot of people like that, but I find it a lot easier to get my ideas down when I'm drawing sort of freehand, basically, um, which is a little bit more difficult with vector. So I have to set it up so that I know that it's gonna look at least decent down small. There are some times where the illustration may not look quite as detailed as you want it to. Um, and it's just it's kind of like you have to decide whether it's readable enough so that people would still understand what it is. Um, then, because if you're doing it big, you can see all the details, obviously. But once it gets down to those 28 pixels, it's like you have to make the call of whether you think that's going to be like good enough, basically. And I hate using the word good enough, but that's sometimes you have to just say, like, is that good enough? And it's a conversation with the client as well, because I'm always saying, are you happy with this? Tell me if you're not happy with stuff. It's one of my biggest things is like absolutely with any client that I deal with, my biggest thing is tell me if you don't like it. Absolutely tell me everything you don't like. Tell me if you want me to redo everything, because for me it's about my reputation. Like my reputation is on the line here, especially with emotes, which go around all of Twitch and things like that. These are very public things that people can see, and I want people to like them, and I want other people to see them and go, I like them. Where do you get them? So, you know, be brutal with me is what I'm always telling people to be. So yeah, it's all about making sure that you've got that second screen and working with it. There has been one time where I have, like, when I'm doing the fonts, I will do vector, just because doing fonts in vector is a lot easier because you're not drawing it, it's the font and you're just working with it. So I'll do that, and then I'll transpose it into I use Clip Studio Paint X for my art, so that's what I use, and I use Affinity Designer for my vector. Just saying that those are great. Use those; they're wonderful. Not sponsored. So yeah, that's kind of how I kind of go about with the actual physical figuring out the emotes. And yeah, so,
Do you have any stories of emotes that you've had to drastically change? I think a lot of the makers, crafters, artists, anyone listening in, they understand that there's different limitations to different art forms, and I'm just
yeah.
curious if you have a story that comes to mind about that.
Um, is there a story about that?
And if not, you can
I
talk
mean,
about one of your favorite ones.
I think there's not been like a massive change yet with anything. It's usually just slight tweaks. Because another thing that I usually end up doing is I will, if there's a design where I'm not entirely sure kind of on a layout or something, I'll repeat different versions of it that like come to mind, just to give like a bit more wide um wider options for the person. Sometimes, like, some things like are very basic, like crying and laughing. Usually they're quite simple, but if there's a bit more complexity with what they've requested, or there's a bit more unsure, like how they're wanting stuff, I'll give a bit more details in terms of various versions. So that usually helps as well, because they can see different options and then they can kind of go, I like that one, but can we change it slightly with this? So yeah, I try and do as much as I can in the very first sketch phase, so that there's less kind of real massive reworks later on. But yeah, my favorite emote.
I'm looking at the haggis one.
Yeah, I
Do you
have
know
to
the story
say,
behind this, or is that something maybe Laser needs to put in the chat?
I, basically, yeah, the haggis. Basically, Laser came to me and he just said haggis. And originally, in all fairness, originally I did go to him with a sketch of a cooked haggis, and he's like, "Could we have it as the creature haggis?" And obviously, we all know that it's really hard to get photos of haggis. You know, they're so rare these days in Scottish Highlands. No one really gets good photos of them. So this is all.
If it's a joke, I don't understand.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Haggis don't exist. It's a
Right.
massive joke. But we like to say that they do exist, and they run around the Highlands. And there's the lowland haggis and the Highland haggis. But no, so he basically came to me and said, "Can I draw haggis?" So I drew an actual cooked food haggis, but he wanted a mythical creature. But he didn't give any further details than that. So I got to really just have fun with that one and just draw whatever I wanted. There was just a slight minor thing that he wanted 3 pairs of legs, which is fair because
Wait, let me
it's
see this.
haggis. But
Adorable.
that was absolutely one of my favorites, I think. Yeah, I love being able to kind of really have fun with just my imagination.
Oh my goodness. And I'm seeing some messages of betrayal in the chat. Can
I
you
knew
read the
I
chat from
knew
where you are?
I
Can you
can't
see
read
them?
the chat. Yeah. I knew I'd start a revolt with that. I'm sorry, I've given away the secret.
I mean,
Um,
it's real. It's real.
it is real. It's absolutely 100% real. Edit this later.
We'll just cut that part out. Don't worry.
Excellent. Look at that.
The
Good,
secret
good
is
stuff.
safe.
But yeah, so that's definitely one of my favorite. Also, the Haggis Man one, that was also a really good one. Because again, I sent Laser like 7
Oh
different
boy.
versions of that, because he just said Haggis Man, and he had a Haggis Man on his thing. But I kind of wanted to just do something a little bit different, like similar but different. So I sent him 7 different things, and then we kind of got it down to 3. And then we finally got it down to the Haggis Man emote that is now there. So yeah, I hate saying that all of Laser's ones are my favorites. There are other favorite ones that I've done, but I think it's because those are the most recent ones that I've done as well. So
Definitely. And I just want to point out that 29 Fireflies said that Haggis Man is so scary cute.
yeah,
I agree.
it is. It's. We need a word for that. We need like
Skewt?
scurry. Yeah,
I don't like
cute.
that. I don't know if I like that. Otherwise, it'd be like curry, but that's a food.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, it can't be curry.
It can't be curry.
That just makes me curry, hungry. But yeah.
That is amazing. And Laser Geek is just soaking up all the joy of having your favorite emotes.
Yeah, Laser, yours are the best.
Oh my gosh, the egg is back. That is amazing.
I have to say, it's funny because when Laser came to me saying, "Oh, I want you to do some emotes for me," and I know everyone loves his eggsy emotes, and I was honestly just thinking, people are going to turn on me. They're going to be like, "I can't believe you changed his emotes." It's like, I'm just getting paid for this. I haven't changed them. I even said to him, I said, like, I don't want to get flack for this. Are you sure you want to change your emotes? But he's like, nope, I trust you. Uh, so, and I think people like them. So,
So I hope the public outcry hasn't been too strong.
no, everyone seems to have been happy with them. So that's made me relieved.
That is awesome. And we have a question from Caged Animal. How long does it normally take to do a logo or an emote, and what's the waiting list look like?
So an emote. So I have a bit of a dotty way of doing it. I don't know how else to say this. So it takes, I give a time frame of about 2 to 4 weeks for a bundle of emotes. Mostly because it gives me a week to kind of get the sketches done and then send it to the client to review. The client can come back and kind of any changes that they want. And I'll do another sketch kind of because I have set days for doing commissions. And also because I'm trying to get as many sketches out to as many clients as possible, I need to kind of have kind of right, this day is going to be sketches, this day is going to be finished commission type things. So it gives me that time, 2 to 4 week period. But I would say usually I've got them back to clients within 2 weeks. There's the odd occasion where it's gone three, maybe 4 weeks most. But that's usually just because there's a back and forth. It's not. It's just the back and forth of like discussing things and things like that. And logos are a bit longer because I have a very in-depth. Those are a lot more in-depth. I give what I call concept sheets where it's like just a whole mass of kind of depending on what the clients come to me and ask for. Some people are very, very specific on what they want for a logo, and that's kind of great. I can do like maybe 3 versions and get that out. Some are more sort of very not vague, but they have a wider kind of idea of what they want. They're just like, I just want it to be this color and this kind of feel to it. And then I kind of take that and I'll just draw like 10 or 15 very rough versions of it. Sometimes they'll just be sketches. Sometimes they'll be a bit more detailed, but might need some tweaks. Then I go to the client and then they pick and choose. So they sort of take bits from one bit. They might like a font. They might like the way it's laid out. It's kind of very, very kind of pick and mix is what I say. It's a pick and mix thing. And then I take those and I rework them basically. And we kind of narrow it down through a good few steps, about 4 steps to get the logo that they want. Because again, as I said, it's all about making sure that the client's got what they're wanting at the end of the day. Because I don't want them to kind of turn around and say, oh, well, this is rubbish. I'm never using this. Like, right. What's the point? I'd rather put in that extra little bit of time with them to get what they want than to just throw them something out there. So that logos are usually 6-8 weeks, I say. But again, it does vary on what clients have asked for as well. Because as I say, there's a whole scope of some clients are very specific on what they want, and they will give you very detailed information, and you can just kind of work that very quickly. And there's the others who they want something, but they're not sure what they want, and so they kind of they want a bit more back and forth. They want a bit more kind of talking with. Sometimes, like for instance, with emotes, sometimes people go, well, I've just gone affiliate. I don't know what I want. Like I don't know what's popular and things. So I'll kind of say to them, well, here's the list of the usual things, hype, lurk, happy, sad, those type of things. But I also say to them things like, well, think about what your chat does. What's there with your chat? How do you interact with your chat? Are you serious? Are you a bit funny? Do you have like a running joke with your chat and things like that? And also think about your personality. For instance, like my TOS is there because my chat are unruly, so they have a TOS to keep them in line. And again, like Lasers has the haggis because it's a running joke. So you are Laser. Sorry, I just seen it. But yeah, so it's very varied, but I do have an average of about 2 to 4 weeks turnaround for emotes, 6 to 8 for the logos, and 6 to 8 for any other commissions that I do as well. And I think was it also what's the current time for it? Was there something else to that question? I don't know. Was there like what's the list like or something? I don't know. I've forgotten the rest of the question.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm just little teddy bear has decided to share his opinion. Oh my gosh, Saki's showing me how to make the command. But let's see. He heard a car or something. Oh, the
Waiting
waiting
list. There
list
you go.
was the
Yes,
rest of the
sorry.
question.
Yes. So there's the waiting list is currently about 4 weeks. Um, I'm just about to start some more commissions this coming week. So it's kind of, it's grown, it's gotten a bit shorter at the moment. So yeah, and usually what I say to people if they're wanting to get on the waiting list is just drop me like a note somewhere, anywhere you can find me. Just find me on the street. Just say, hey, says, put me on the waiting list. And then I usually message people when there's a slot open, because that's just kind of the easiest way to do it, really. So, but yeah, it's about 4 weeks at the moment, just so that I can get a bit caught up on stuff.
That's fantastic. Let me just make sure my mic is back on. So I was curious, when you're looking to create a style of emote for someone, do you look at their channel? Do you ask them to send you references? What is your process for that?
Yeah, so I usually ask for references. And again, it's a conversation with the person. Occasionally, I have kind of gone to a channel just to see sort of colors that they've used and things like that. But usually, I'll just kind of say, "Do you have a color that you want to use?" And again, it is just kind of having that kind of I do kind of I say conversation. It's through text, which because that helps me keep a list of everything that's going on. But it's kind of just I'll say to them, okay, do you have like what's the kind of style? Sometimes I might ask them if they have sort of a look that they're looking for. If they could send me stuff like that. Or if they've got pictures of their dogs, that seems to be a common one at the moment is their dogs, because who doesn't love dog
No.
emotes? Dog emotes are the
No
best.
way.
And so that it's just about asking them. And sometimes usually I get enough, but sometimes I might have to go back and just say, could you give me a few more, maybe in like a different pose, just so I can get a better idea of what the dog looks like, or what you look like, just things like that. But usually people are really good at just kind of sending me loads of references, and I'm like, oh, this is great, I can work with this. And as well, I mean, obviously people come to me kind of because they've seen my stuff, so they know that that's my style. So obviously if someone comes to me and says that they want a recreation of the Mona Lisa, I'm going to have to say no, I don't do
Right.
that. That won't work as an emote. What are you doing? But like there's a very kind of I kind of have to. I've not come to it yet, but like I have to kind of tell people that there is a limit to what I can, as my style is it's very cartoony. And so if they were looking for, say, like a lot of gamers like those very serious vector ones, that's not my style. So I would probably just say, unfortunately, that's not what I can do for you. And I can either just send them on to someone else, or
Right.
I just tell them where to maybe look for that type of thing. But yeah, hopefully a lot of people do come to me because they've already seen what my style is, so that they know in advance that that's what they would be getting. But I mean, I am quite varied in my approach. I do have a cartoon style, but I can do slightly more, realistic things. I just prefer cartoony because cartoony works better as an emote, basically, as in my personal opinion. But yeah, it's just a big conversation, really, and a back and forth, and just really trying to get as much info as I need from the client through talking to them first of all. But I mean, most of my clients have been brilliant, and they just give me what I need straight off the bat, and it's like, yeah, cool, awesome.
That is so
um,
fantastic.
yeah.
Laser Geek has a question in the chat. Seskimo, do you charge extra for noses?
Yes. Anyone who doesn't understand this, so when I first came onto Twitch, so I do have a realistic style. It does have noses. I can draw noses, but obviously when you're doing cute things, sometimes noses take away from the cuteness. So you don't draw noses for cute style, or chibi style, as it's sometimes referred to. And it became a running joke that whenever I drew on stream, they never had noses. And so people decided that I obviously couldn't draw noses. And then and then I started drawing noses, and then I started telling them that they had to pay extra for the noses. So it's just become this whole big
That
thing.
is amazing. No, I think that's hilarious. And it seems like you've created a really wonderful community on Twitch, not only
I
for being an artist, but just for being an amazing personality too.
I mean, I've definitely found my people on Twitch. That's probably what I can say. I'm honestly so happy. Like, I never thought that I would like find people that I could really connect with the way I have on Twitch. Like, because I do hang around on Twitter and I do hang around on Facebook groups, but I was always kind of, I was very like reserved. I would kind of join in some kind of threads and things like that, but never really, it was never, I didn't know people's names and things. I might recognize them occasionally, but it wasn't like, it wasn't really a deep and personal thing. And then I came to Twitch, and just, it's just such a lovely community here. I've got like friends all over the world now, like who we will literally just sit in chats and things and just chat. Like I didn't expect that to happen. It was just, when I started this, I just thought I would just be this faceless person just drawing occasionally, and people would forget me maybe. But I just, you guys are lovely.
It seems like the chat likes you, but it also seems like the chat is sharing that you're really mean to them. Is this
it
true?
I can be I say that I am aggressively affectionate is what I say. I can be a bit mean, but in a very loving, very British kind of way. When I'm mean to you, it means that you're part of the clan, basically. But when
Hey,
I'm
I'm a
nice to you,
supporter of strong, aggressive friendship.
that's it. Strong, aggressive friendship. I'm not afraid to be mean to my friends. But I think it's mostly, I hope it's mostly just in jest that people say I'm mean. I try and be nice, but then I get told off for being nice, so I don't know what else to do,
You can't
really.
win. You can't
No,
win.
you just can't win.
And I think Cute Cat wants to be let out of the shed, by the way.
No, you must stay in the shed, cute cat.
So, what's been some of the more interesting things that you've learned from streaming on Twitch, or showing the process of creating your art?
Um, well, like I've said, you don't get anything done on Twitch. That's something that I've definitely learned. What else have I learned? I mean, getting the confidence to be on Twitch is probably the biggest thing. Like I'm a very nervous person. And being so that people can see and hear me is very, very nerve-wracking for me. And it took a lot of confidence just to do that. And it actually started with my partner Genix, who's in the chat, or he was in the chat. Oh, he's still there. He's still there. He's behind the curtain. I wasn't sure if he'd gone or not.
Behind the mysterious wall.
Yes, he is the man behind the mysterious wall. Um, but yeah, in order to get my confidence up, we kind of started doing a Saturday chat thing, which was, it literally was just to get my confidence to be on the screen and to interact with people. And that still continues. Like, we still do a Saturday night chat. But in terms of like doing um, Twitch art wise, I I've sort of, so not so much learnt, but some rules that I have is that I don't do commissions on stream. And the reason for that is there's two main reasons. Is one is because I do get distracted very easily, and it's not fair to the client that I'm not putting my full attention into that. In my opinion, is that I want to be able to just focus on their commission. Secondly, and again, this is all just me. I don't do it because I want my client to be the first one to see the art when I've made it. So I don't want to do it on stream for other people to see. Because I personally don't think that's fair, because it's the person who's paid for it, and they should be allowed to see it, and they should also not feel like pressured by anybody who, like, they might not like something, but other people in the chat might like something, and it's not fair on them if like they feel pressured because of chat have said, oh, that's great, and then they go, well, the chat said it's great. I mean, I try and keep the commissions very, very personal and private. There's been a couple of, very early on, there was a couple of times where I did do commissions on the stream, but that was because I was naive and I didn't realize that like I wouldn't get anything done. So, so that was my naivety showing through. But now I'm very strict on, I don't do commissions. My Twitch art streams are very much me working on my Etsy products, or just working on random stuff. I'm starting to do this thing. I actually wanted to start this in January, but we had a second lockdown in Scotland, and we're just starting to. My kids have started going back to nursery and school, so I'm getting a bit more time. But I'm doing this what I call Seskimo, which is basically I'm making gifts for other Twitch, not just streamers, but Twitch users, basically people who kind of like hung out in my chat, or people who have like who I know and things like that. I'm just making little gifts for them based on things that they like, and maybe things that they've done and said, and just running jokes and things like that. So I'm kind of starting to get back into that again. Hopefully I'll get some gifts out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, in terms of other things I've learned, I mean, I've learned that Twitch is very twitchy, and things will break, and don't ever expect a stream to go smoothly. And that's the biggest thing. Like I said before, I'm a very anxious person, and hitting that start button like terrifies me even now. And like, but I've told myself that it's never as bad as I think it's going to be. Anything that goes wrong, like, everyone knows that Twitch goes wrong. There's the whole Twitch running joke of 100% professional streamer, like, because everyone knows that Twitch doesn't work sometimes, and so I've learned to just not take it to heart if I end up being on mute, or if the camera stops working.
You on mute? That would never happen here.
That never happened. When would that happen? But yeah.
For those of you who came in a little late, when we started, I had forgotten to unmute Seskimo's mic.
It's fine. It's probably for the best.
It was only a minute. It was fine.
But yeah, and so I've kind of learned that. What else have I learned? I've learned to just embrace the community, and just try and keep them in line, but not too much. I've learned that you can't keep them in line is the main thing. The chat will do what the chat wants.
Isn't that the best, though? I think it's the best.
Is.
I mean,
it's great.
One of my favorite emotes, for those of you who may not be familiar, the riot emote. And if Boyd's Custom Fab is here, I think it's been used most against him.
That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, that's just great. I love like when emotes have come from things that people have done or said in chat, like running jokes in chats. Those are like some of the best emotes. Like worked lettuce, for instance. He has his lettuce patch that's come because everyone calls themselves the lettuce patch on there, and that's just like no one else on all of Twitch would have a lettuce patch as their emote, but he does.
I'm looking at that now.
Yeah, and I got to draw that because and that's great. And it's just, and there's all sorts of other running jokes and things like that other streams have. Everyone's got the patch now. But yeah, it's great. I mean, the amount of things that, and sometimes you'll even see these emotes that are obviously jokes in other people's streams, and you're like, what is that? Like, what is that? And sometimes you might go and watch them on the stream just to try and figure it out, or sometimes you're just so weirded out that you just kind of go, nope, I'm not going there.
Exactly. It's like, I thought I was going to check them out, but I'm going to back away slowly.
I'll stay over here.
Enjoy.
But exactly, it's great. And I love how I love how you can say a lot with emotes as well. Like the amount of things like you can literally like greet random people with like emotes, like 29's hi emotes, that's a great one for greeting everyone. I may have stolen that and made my own hi emote. Sorry, 29. But and yes, Laser's legendary clap emote and things like that. It's just like, and running jokes with the clap emote as well. And but
Ooh, and some doot
yeah.
newts. We got some doot newts in the chat.
Oh, Duke Newts,
Got some doot
yes.
newts. Oh, so Q Cat has a question. As an okay, let me make sure it's not scrolling. As an artiste, who would be your dream streamer to make emotes for?
Oh man, now you're asking a question. Who would it be? I mean, I've done a lot of people that I kind of really wanted to do emotes for. So who would I want to do? I mean, obviously there's you, Momo.
Oh yeah. You're just saying that because you're on my channel. Me aside.
I don't know that. I mean, I would it be wrong for me to say I want to do all of your remotes? Let me do all of your remotes, everyone. Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you anyone who like jumps out to me as the one that I would want.
Right. You don't go to the streamer. The streamer comes to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Because you're an
If you make
artiste.
it, yeah, exactly. If you make it, they will come. But I think as well, because I actually tend to avoid the really big streamers, like the huge ones. Um, not because I'm being hipster or anything like that. It's usually just because again again the whole anxiety thing. I'm very nervous about being in large chats like that. I might lurk in a few for a bit, but I'm never really active in them. I prefer closer communities, and I am someone who has piggybacked like off other people. I shouldn't say this. Just like for instance, again, Laser. I'm sorry, his name's going to come up a lot in this because he was like a big help for me in the start. Like he like because I was in his chat and getting to know people, I then sort of started going to their streams because I'd talk to them in his stream. I felt I could talk to them in their streams, and then I'd talk to other people. And so I kind of like I chain across. I don't just I'm very nervous about finding random people and talking to them. And I think a few people are like that. Like they prefer going to people who they've at least had a brief conversation with, even if it's just saying hi in someone else's chat. There's that, the Victorian etiquette of, introducing yourself first via your colleagues before you start just talking to random people and things like that. Very British. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
it's easier
I don't know.
too. It's really building a community that way.
Yes. It's great because then you're really starting to understand those people and know what they're like and like because yeah I don't do Twitch. It's gonna sound bad. I don't do Twitch for what people are doing on Twitch. I do it for the community. Like I will go into people's streams where I'm not overly interested in, like if they're playing a game that I'm not interested in, I don't go to watch that game. I go to see that person who is streaming, and I go to give them a chat and say hi to them and stuff. Sometimes I'm really interested. Like I do enjoy like the creative ones are quite interesting to watch, but it is the main reason I'm going into most Twitches is to just have a chat and just to say hi to my friends basically, and to see new people and just have one big hug.
One big warm virtual hug.
One big warm socially distanced hug. Yeah. But
Fantastic.
I've forgotten what the question was as well. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. It's who would be the streamer that you'd want to make emotes for the most. But
That was the question. Yes. All of you is the
Everyone.
too long didn't read. Yeah, everyone.
Only Seskimo emotes on Twitch.
That's it. There will only ever be
And Laser Geek just wanted to remind you that you were talking about him.
Oh, I'm always
You're
talking about
him.
Laser. Yeah. That's it.
So I'm trying to think. Did your emotes start out the same kind of style, the more chibi, pay extra for a nose style?
Yes and no. So my very first Twitch emote, there's actually two emotes and some sub badges, was for a friend of mine who was a game streamer. He's called Mechaweech, and he was one of my very first Twitch commissions because he wanted a Mechaweech banner and things like that. He was very early on. So a load of my friends, like when I said that I was going freelance, and I'm not going to cry over this time. I get very emotional over this because my friends are just awesome and I love them all. But my friends basically back last year in March when I announced just on my Facebook that we decided I wasn't going to look for a new job. I was just going to take the money and go and do freelancing. Loads of my friends just kind of came to me and they asked for various things and stuff like that, and it was just great. And they offered me out to people, not like that. They
We know what you mean.
sent. they gave my details to other people. Like they spread my name far and wide, and they were great. And he was one of the first Twitch commissions that I had, and he wanted a banner and stuff, and he wanted sub badges. And then I kind of said to him, well, can I just, to do some testing, can I just make you an emote? Like, I'm going to try and do one of your face, and then I'm going to do a cute chibi thing. So I kind of made his face. He was doing kind of a screenshot that was really
YouTuber
funny.
shocked face?
Exactly, YouTuber stock face. So I did that, and I made him. It was an emote where he's basically putting his fingers in his ears because he used to do Twitch sings as well. So it was kind of like a no Twitch sing.
Amazing.
So I did those for him, and those were my first emotes. And the one that I drew was it's kept the chibi cute face, all super cute and chibi. There are occasions where I might put a very small nose, just if it fits better with the look. Just because I don't even know why. Sometimes some emotes look better with just a little bit of a nose. Actually 29 fireflies have a little bit of a nose. It's not easy to see, but it is there when you blow it up a bit. And so sometimes I do put a little bit of a nose, but it's more just, I think it's just with the shading and stuff like that, and kind of the layout of the picture. It helps with the composition a bit more. But yeah, it's always been kind of cute when I've been drawing it. Always been that kind of really adorable, fun, very bright kind of style. So yes.
Oh, and Haggis Man also has a nose. Laser
Oh
just
yes,
wanted to point out.
of course, Haggis Man does in fact have a nose. Again, you can't really see it when it's small, but when it gets bigger, because that's another thing as well. I do try and make my emotes so that they look good when they are big. Like so they look readable when they're small, but they look good when they're big. Like I do add shading that a lot of people might not add. And some people probably think, well, what's the point? But it's like, because a lot of people do actually use these emotes in bigger formats. You know, they like making them bigger. So I want to give that option. Like when I do my emotes, I always offer a 500 by 500 and then the 112, 56 and the 28 size thing. But there's always that 500 so that they have something that's a bit bigger that they can use, like to make some stickers or things like that. So
And I've done
that's
that.
always
I love using the emotes for things like that. So that's
yeah,
very thoughtful.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, because I know that there are some people who don't offer that, and that's fine. That's obviously that's what they do. But I just want to just have that little bit extra, that because the more that people want to use their things, the more that they're going to big you up. Is my philosophy. It's all about me being selfish at the end of the day.
So you've mentioned that you do freelance work. Is that focused on the emotes, the sub badges, things like that? What other types of items do you make for people?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never intended to be a Twitch emote artist. It wasn't back when I went freelance. It wasn't even something that I had really thought about. I really just thought I was going to make maybe some kind of stylized portraits, maybe anime type style portraits. That was really all I ever thought. Like I was so narrow in my scope of what I thought I would do. Um, So it was honestly never until my friend came to me and said he wanted a banner. And then I started kind of looking more at the Twitch, like in general, and what people ask for. And then yeah, and then it just kind of bloomed from there. And I'm so glad that I started doing the Twitch emotes. But I mean, what other things have I done? I've done logos. I've done banners, like I say. I've done one thing I did was a for a it was actually a return client, who the one who asked for the children's illustrations for the book. She actually came back and said, well, her husband needs some um, designs. He has this charity that he has this design that he wants to be able to just use whenever he needs to do advertising and stuff. And that the idea that they had um, was kind of, or what they wanted was somebody else's. They wanted something a bit similar, but obviously very much like for themselves. And they were like, "Well, can you make something like that for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that. That's fine." So that kind of is just a design that they use for whenever they're advertising their charity. Um, it wasn't like a logo. It was what's it called, evolution of man picture, but it ends with like archaeological dig at the end, so it's kind of, that was their idea. And I made it so that it was very, very different, because copyright and all that. So, and what else have I done? Oh man, what have I done? I've done D&D characters for people.
Oh.
So I've done, I've forgotten what I've done. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the D&D was kind of what I thought I would be primarily doing, just because that was where I'd been hanging out with. Um, but I did also realize that I needed to break away from that community because, like I said, it was like they were artist communities, and as much as I love being in artist communities, the problem with artist communities is they're artists and they can do what I can do. So why would they hire me when they can do what I can do?
Makes sense.
Um, yeah, so I thought I really need to find people who have the ideas but don't have my skill set, and because that's the best way to find clients is you
Exactly.
know so again, and that's why Twitch ended up being such a great place, because people just, all sorts of people like end up, I mean, I'm kind of now in music communities and the woodworking communities and gaming communities, and people I just wouldn't have really maybe thought to hang around with in the Twitterverse. I have so many really great friends in those places now, and it's just great. And I just love how varied it all is. Like, it's great.
That is wonderful. And it sounds like you would be making a wide variety of emotes and different types of art for people. What are some
Yes.
of the more interesting emotes that you've created, or art or anything like that?
The more interesting,
Or an
just art
idea
in
that was maybe
general.
unexpected, yeah.
An idea that was unexpected. Well, I have to say, one of the fun motes, just thinking back, was it was for a gamer who wanted some skulls, just some cute like skull emotes. So that was quite fun. I like those. Um, and that's like that. I wouldn't have thought that I would have done something like that. I know that seems like it's a very obvious thing to do, maybe for some people, but um, just I don't know. Like, there's loads of emotes that I didn't think I would ever be doing. I did a banana emote, for it's not the infamous banana remote, for Calamity Cat, but I did do one of the varieties, a variation on the banana remote, which I didn't think I would ever do, which is always fun. Not that one, but no, it was a more uh, Twitch friendly banana remote that I did. But yeah, and in terms of general stuff, like, I didn't think I would be doing like logos in general was something I never thought I would do. Um, and I think my favorite thing that I've done that isn't emotes, because like I say, the emotes are my favorite thing to do. I think my favorite thing has probably been like just doing like people's characters and things. I really did love doing that. and that's always fun to just because they give you like really in-depth descriptions because that character's their baby, and it's fun. It's really nerve-wracking though because again, those characters are those people's. People really get attached to their characters. I
Mm-hmm.
get attached to my characters. I have gaming characters. Like I game as well. Like I play all sorts of like D&D type things and tabletop and stuff. So I get very like if somebody drew my character wrong, I'd be angry. So I know like I'm very nervous about giving someone a piece that might be wrong. But again, it's all about making sure that they're happy with the sketch and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I love doing that. I actually love being varied. I really love just doing new things. It's something that I've always been very nervous of is getting stuck doing only one thing. It's like my style varies as well, and that's again because I don't want to get stuck drawing in one style. My emotes are very similar, but when I go and draw like characters, they're a bit more fleshed out. I do realism, and I try new things every time I'm doing something. I'm always trying something a little different. Sometimes I even forget how I've done something because I've been trying something new, and it'll turn out great, and I'll be like, well, I can't remember how I did that. So whoops. Probably should have written that down. But yeah, I love doing everything basically. I probably do too much, so I'm having to rein it in a bit. But yeah, anything that if someone throws me a challenge, I'm always willing to give it a try.
Oh, that is fantastic. And I'm looking forward to catching more of your streams so I can see the different types of pieces that you make. But are there any certain types of projects that you're hoping to be able to do in the future?
Just 29. No, it's not that banana 29. It's not actually there at the moment. I think it's in the Discord. But so in terms of projects, I mean, I recently got a sublimation printer and a heat press and things like that, and I'm still playing with that at the moment. But I'd really love to be kind of like the way a bit like the way Calamity does with like all of her stuff, like she does like the cricket and things like that. I'd love to be making like massive projects on like the cricket and things like that. Just really getting into the crafting. Like as much as I love art, I do love crafting as well, and I love kind of really finding new crafts. Just to again just to play about and experience new things. So I think in terms of a big project, is there a big project? Nothing specific. I just want to play about and try new things basically, and see what I can do with the cricket really, and with my sublimation, and all of that, and just try new things and break them. Actually, it's not really related, but currently on my Twitch, there is a community challenge for a cheese toasty heat press. They want me to make a cheese toasty in the heat press. And for those who don't know, that's a grilled cheese sandwich, because I know that there is the difference there. But yeah, so they want me to make that on my heat press. So again, the chat wants what the chat
Are
wants,
you going to
but
do it? Get that
if
parchment paper. I mean, you'll
oh yeah,
protect it.
I'll be fully protecting it. Yeah, if they get the points, then they will get to see me make the cheese toasty
Oh my
on
goodness.
my heat press.
Do you know how close they are to that?
Oh, they're nowhere near. I made sure that they would be really challenged to get that. So, um,
And Mark Cord says that frankly they're just hungry. But they
well,
don't want to contribute to ruining your heat press.
well, I did say if they got halfway there, I would just make a cheese sandwich, and that would just be me making a cheese sandwich on stream, not in the heat press. They just have a cheese sandwich. Um,
That's
but yeah,
amazing. You might. I feel like a cheese toasty little character sticker
oh,
on your press
God,
would be quite cute.
yes. I did joke and said that I would make a cheese toasty, but I didn't say that it would be a real cheese toasty.
Mm.
But yeah, I think there's going to end up being a cheese toast. If it happens, there's going to end up being some sort of cheese toasty emote sticker thing. But that's another thing as well. I love making stickers and things like that, which I try to make stickers on my stream, but I never get past the drawing stage. So, so I usually end up in the makers and crafters, and I never get to the making of the crafting part. But
Drawing on
so
stream, stickers off stream.
yeah,
That might
that's
have
pretty
to be
much
it. Oh my goodness.
that's what it is.
So you're looking to make stickers with your Cricut. You have a sublimation printer now. You have a heat press. What are some other items that you're going to be putting together?
Oh, what are there? So, I mean, I've been making stickers for a little while now, so that was
Ooh.
actually the reason I ended up buying my Cricut.
Do you have any on hand that you could show us?
I was literally just looking for them. I did have some. I tidied up my desk this morning.
No. The one time.
I know. What am I doing? Hang on, let me see if I have one lying around. Here we go. So that's. Hang on. This was actually a commission. This was a commission sticker that I did for someone. That's another thing I've done. I've done commission stickers. So this was for the Drive's girlfriend. Hi, Drive. And this, so I designed that. I made it into a sticker, and then I sent it to him. And so, yeah, so I make things like that. And that's actually because I have an Etsy store as well. Which is I sell stickers and things. One thing that I have kind of been looking at making is, sorry, I'm just going to show you all my products now. I've been learning
please do.
Like, mouse mats, so that's kind of sublimation mouse mat. I don't know if you can see that properly. So yeah, so that's
the rainbow clouds.
Yeah, so I want to be able to start making things like that. What else? I mean, actually going back to big projects, there's something that I would absolutely love to do that I've had in my mind to do for a couple of years now, is I want to make like a large dragon out of like leather, because so my partner kind of does leather working and woodworking, and he has like a bag of leather scraps, and I want to make like a giant dragon out of the leather scraps, like making scales and things like that. But I'm not like, one of the things that I don't do is I don't really make like plushies or things like that. I have attempted. Hang on.
Oh yes, you have it.
This is my first posable art doll that I ever made. He's called Ugly Cat, and
Ugly Cat is very special.
Ugly Cat is incredibly special. He's got little paws. He's incredibly ugly. But this was just me. This was just me playing about, trying to understand how to make posable art dolls, and then I made some a bit later. This is needle felted, and this one I made as well.
Those are amazing.
So I want to make something like that, posable, but out of like leather bits and stuff like that. So that is a project I would love to do. And now that I've got the Cricut to cut really,
I've been told to do things.
Genix has apparently been told to do things by the chat. Why am I being given this stuff? To show stuff. Oh god.
It's show and tell now.
It's show and tell. Oh yeah. Oh, I have badges as well. Thank you. I do actually have. Hang on. So I'll just show you. So this is I make. I don't know if I got that right, but I don't know if that's showing up. Hang on. There we go. Yeah. So badges. So these are badges that I make as well. I have a whole thing of them here. But yeah, so I have. I mean, I just kind of want to make everything. That's the problem. I want to make everything.
I think you have a lot of friends who feel the same way here.
So I would love to be able to do on stream just making this dragon and seeing how it works. But again, it's something that one thing I'll need to like plan real like how to do it first of all, because as much as I love just diving in and doing stuff, I feel like if I'm going to be using like a lot of leather, I want to make sure that it works. So
sure.
It might be something that I do on Twitch. It might just be something that I just do on the side. I don't know. It might be something I never do, and it'll just be another pipe dream. So,
maybe a point redemption.
After yeah,
your cheese toasty. There we go.
Yeah, 1,000,000 points, and we'll do the dragon.
No, I think it would be amazing. Like you said, it might take some planning and maybe some YouTube University. But
that's probably going to have to, yes, a lot of YouTube. Yeah, it could be something that I definitely do once I'm like, a bit more, because I've only just started getting back into my routine of doing 2 streams a week. So once I'm kind of settled into that, and once I've done the heat press toasty, then we might look at doing the dragon. So we'll see.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
One epic project at a time.
exactly. Start small, get bigger.
Definitely.
But
And
yeah.
let me see. Do you have any more of your items that you want to show?
Oh my god.
Cats?
How long have we still got?
As long as you would like. I love seeing other creatives' work, and I love your work. So if you have anything you want to show, please feel free.
I mean, let's have a look. I've got some doodles up here, like I could show you. Like this is, hang on. So this is like more of an anime style that I just doodled. It's not a piece; it was just a sketch that I've done. So there you go. There's a piece there. It's got a nose. Thank you, darling.
Is Gen X throwing some more things your way?
He's just throwing all the things at me. So I've got stickers. So this sticker actually, this sticker was this actually was originally designed again for Laser Geek's stream because he was cutting leather and they wanted to cut a cow shape. And I said, "Oh, give me 5 minutes. I'll draw you up a cow for you to cut." So so I did that for them, and they cut that on the leather. Poor Laser.
And Elizabeth wants to know if you are going to show the campfire.
Am I going to show the campfire? I mean, it's a digital thing, so I can't show it, unfortunately.
Is it on your Instagram? Or
it's on. Do you know? I haven't actually put it up on the Instagram. It's on Drive's Discord. If you are a member of that, because it was part of the Drive's monthly challenge. So he does a challenge where he just has a word, and we make things because of that. And I literally, because I'm notorious for getting things in at the very last minute. 7 minutes to midnight, which is the deadline.
Oh my goodness.
I managed to finish and get something in, and I got it in, and it was great. But yeah, it's just an eye piece that I drew. I'm just I'm trying to think. I mean, there's keychains that I've made. Oh, that one's a slightly broken one, but this was so. These are again. Laser, I bought. Thank you, darling.
Everything at once. I love this.
Throw things at me. So these still. I still haven't even got these up, and I've had them for like almost a year. So these are keychains that I made. So the wood has been cut by Laser.
Ooh.
Laser Geek Creations. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little crochet, and yarn. Not showing up very well, but so that was made using a cutout from Laser's thing. That I sent him. So I sent him a template that I wanted cut out, and then I did a vinyl sticker with my cricket and stuff, and then I put resin over the top of that. So I've made these. So that's how I made
those. That's so clever.
So yeah, it was because it all started off. So sorry about all this. We've moved away.
This is interviewing you. This is featuring you.
So originally I started off I went to a company called Zap that did something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was from Zap, the Zap company. So it's again made in wood, and they have, I don't know, some sort of laser thing that they print on. And I was like, well, these turned out really great, but I had to order them in big bulks. And because I'm a small, company, I don't want to be having to order, 50 of one keychain that ends up not selling.
I'm just like
yay! I now have a whole pile of keychains. So I was like, well, how do I get, smaller quantities? Like, can I make them at home to make them cheaper as well? And then I was just like, well, Laser cuts wood. Let's see what he can do for me. So I talked to him, sent him the file. He sent me, he was able to do a small quantity that I then put together and made, and it worked out quite well. And in fact, I'm thinking of actually changing it and doing some sort of sublimation with it now that I have the sublimator.
Yes.
Sublimate printer rather. But yes, so I'm going to work on that again, because this is the thing. I'm always trying to figure out ways that I can do things that companies charge me more for. So can I make it a similar quality is kind of my thing. And and I think it turned out nice. I mean, it's okay. It's kind of rubbed a bit, like, because I haven't really been taking care of them, but I think once I've got it done, and that's the thing as well. I'm always product testing at the moment. Like, I have T-shirts and mugs. I have piles of mugs that are just gone wrong because I've been sublimating, and T-shirts gone wrong and things like that. So
Just perfecting the process.
well, exactly. I don't want to give a faulty product to my customers. So yeah, so that's kind of that's me.
That is
All sorts of
amazing.
things. But yeah, doesn't dare put up his prices on Seskimo in case I want them to be laser.
Threaten your friends and they won't upcharge you. There you go. That's a good business model, I think. Oh my
That's
goodness.
it.
So you've mentioned your own business, you've mentioned going freelance. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've dealt with that? And what are some things that, I guess, some advice that you would give to someone interested in doing the same thing?
So big challenge for me is really, thank you, darling.
More things?
No, he was taking them away. So big challenge for me. It was probably really figuring out what I was going to do when I started. Like I said, this first year, so I'm coming up to my 1 year anniversary of being freelance. And this first year, it was really literally me saying yes to everything. Like any commission that came to me, I said yes. And as much fun as that's been, kind of just seeing what I can do, I feel like I need to now kind of narrow down to what's the most profitable for the amount of time, and what's the most popular as well. I need to kind of pull it down a bit. And so that I would basically, yeah, I would say to anyone, think about what you want to do. Maybe don't say no to things that you're not sure about, but also, don't say yes to everything like I did. Really, really have a think about what you want, but also, be open to ideas that you might not have thought of. Like I say, Twitch really wasn't something that was on my radar as a viable business opportunity until I came into the world of Twitch. It just and now I just want to make emotes. So it's really kind of, I even like, I've now, it's such a big part that my emotes have got their own branding now. I now have Seskimotes, because everything is Seskimo in my world. So it's Seskimotes, which is going to be like its own thing.
That's so adorable.
So it's, yeah, I'd say be aware of your limitations as well. Like I say, if someone came to me asking for an oil painting, obviously I would never say yes to that, because I don't, as much as I'm willing to take a challenge, I am also realistic in what I can and can't do. I would also say don't, and I'm going to get told off for this because I'm such a hypocrite, don't undersell yourself.
I diverted my earbud out of my ear. It's fine. It's fine.
And because I get told off all the time because I'm apparently still underselling myself on some things. And so get in quick if you want anything, because then prices might go up soon. But yeah, don't undersell yourself. Like, obviously, so for me, I actually started off quite low, partly because I wasn't even sure how long things were going to take me. Like, I had an idea of how long my art took in general, but I didn't factor in, conversation time, back and forth, even things like, for instance, with emotes, you don't realize how long it takes to actually like shrink down the files. Like, if you've got 12 emotes that you're having to like do a 112 by 112, 56 and then 28, you're having to do, I'm having to do 4 versions because I go from 800 to 500 So I'm doing 4 versions of each emote, and that can still take, you know, a long time, like a good couple of minutes per remote, which you don't factor that in when you're starting off. So yeah, so just remember everything like that you're doing, and remember that that is all part of what that person's paying you for. You know, like for my emotes, for instance, I have a bit of an odd system where the first emote is about £12, and then each emote is £8 after that. And the reason the first emote is £12 is because you're paying for the actual talk. Like, um, you know, you're paying that a little bit extra to have that time to chat with me. And then the remotes, you're paying for the work basically. Um, so that's how it works at the moment, and that's still I I I am probably going to have to change that a little bit. Um, but it's still a learning process. Like, so I would say don't be afraid to ask for what you think you're worth. Um, and I would also say don't unless you have some secure base, don't do what I did and just go full time straight off the bat. I was very fortunate because I had my redundancy pay, which helped pay for stuff and things like that. And my partner, like we basically made sure that he could at least cover the bills if I wasn't making any money. That was kind of, could we survive like as long as he's there? So he's my backup support basically. If I have a month where I'm not making anything, he's there, and then my money is kind of for the extras and stuff. So I would say make sure that you're going to be okay, because I know that I've been incredibly fortunate, like in terms of having constant commissions. I know that there are artists who are, you know, more skilled than me. I know we shouldn't be talking about people, yeah, but there are people who are more skilled than me who don't get as many commissions, and it's, you know, you need to make sure that you can pay for what you need to pay for. You know, get a second part-time job if you need to. You know, 2 days a week somewhere, just to cover you until you know that you're going to be okay. Just make sure that you've got something to back you up. So I would say, you know, and I mean, I totally understand as well, because I don't think I could have done, I personally couldn't have actually gone freelance and work part-time, because I've got my 2 kids as well. So my energy levels are like, when I was coming home from work, when I was working, like my energy levels were so low, having to deal with the kids as well. I never had the energy to be freelance as well. That was just never a reality. So this was literally the only way I could be freelance, is to go all or nothing basically. But I would just say just have something like there to back you up, in whether it's a supportive partner or you know, some sort of pay or something. So just don't be penniless and homeless and on the streets, please. Don't do what I did. Just make sure you're safe. But yeah. So is there anything else? Also taxes. Taxes, like I mean, for our taxes in the UK, it's from March to April. No, sorry, it's from April to April. So April the 6th. No, April the 6th. I still don't know. But for my first tax was actually only for March to April. And I still hadn't like kept records and things like that. I know that I hadn't made any money. Like I think I made £50 in that first month. So I knew that we have a threshold where we have to like declare, and I knew I hadn't hit that. But like my finances to begin with are an absolute mess. Like I didn't know like how much I'd spent in the first month. Like I've got receipts somewhere. Just make sure you're logging everything. Absolutely log everything. Log your ingoings, your outgoings. You know, just have them somewhere. don't come to the tax, you know, end of the tax year and be like looking through all of your Amazon purchases, going, "Oh my God, was that for the business? I don't think so." You know, log everything. So yeah, I think those are my things. Just don't do what I did.
Oh my goodness. That's good advice. I mean, the taxes thing, it's one of those things where it can seem so overwhelming, but there are a lot of steps you can take to make it so much easier on yourself. Just having it, I mean, if you use QuickBooks, it's helpful, I'm sure. I haven't used that. Even just an Excel spreadsheet where you can keep track of everything, just something.
Yes,
Something's
exactly.
better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got QuickBooks. I still haven't actually used it yet. I've just been kind of recording all my stuff on like folders and things like that. So I really need to use the QuickBooks, but I'm
We
paying for
believe
that
in
now.
you. Yeah, we believe in you.
I can do it.
So something that had me curious was you mentioned that you would illustrate D&D characters.
Yes.
Are there any characters that you could share with us, or is that something that people like to keep close to themselves?
I mean, again, they're digital, so I have them on Instagram.
Ooh, okay.
Um,
Feel free to drop some links in the chat if you'd like.
yeah, sure. Let me just.
Fix that up a little bit. Or
I
any that
will
you want to
go.
describe to us that had some interesting features?
So the one that I did, because I've actually only done one D&D commission while I was working freelance. I've kind of through the past I've done like bits and bobs throughout, but the one that I did was actually for a friend. It was his. It's actually, funnily enough, this, even though this was what I thought would be the most common thing that I'd be requested, it's been one of the least requested things out of all of my commissions. But he has a character. Let me just.
I'm just sending
Oh, no,
links of things that I like, which is everything,
Right,
but you know.
I too. I forgot. I did two. Sorry, there was two. There was two.
Oh my gosh, the
role
puppy.
So this was the character. Oh, is this the one that you've just linked? I don't know if that's. Hang on. What have you just linked? Oh, yes, that was another Drive commission as well, actually.
The puppy.
I'm not Laser. I'm not an RBS business customer, unfortunately. So that was so that one that I linked was that one was interesting because the again there was lots of details, like lots of little hidden details, like so this was pardon me, an art. I can never pronounce this. An artificer. Thank you. An artificer. And that's the character's class, basically. So they have lots of like potion things and stuff like that. So there's lots of like vials and like tools and things. Also, the shield was a lot of fun. That was something that I had to play with because like the gem in the middle, I was trying to figure out how to make it look like a gem and stuff like that. So that's a piece I did. There was also that one was really a lot of fun, actually. I enjoyed that because again that was someone who was very detailed in everything they sent me. They knew everything about this character. They even knew like the exact pose they wanted and like the kind of look that they wanted on the character's face, because sometimes some people might not know what they want the character to be doing. They might just tell you the description of the character and stuff, but he was incredibly detailed, and that helps so much for these type of things. And this was another one. This was a Christmas present for a client's partner who is a mad 40k fan. So she actually wanted him to be the character. So it was him as this class of 40k person. And that was that again was quite an interesting one because it was just like all of these wires and things like that and stuff like that. It's just all sorts of fun. And again, these are always the ones where the clients will always give you like the most feedback. Like they'll say to you, oh, it's the wrong color, it's the wrong shade, you got to maybe change this, show a bit of like a bit more of the beard or stuff like that, always. And that's great. I love that. I know people are very nervous about critiquing the work. This is something that often comes up is that people will be very nervous about like saying anything's wrong. And like I said before, I'm so adamant that people tell me if it's wrong. And I try and emphasize that so much. Like, because I don't want people to come and tell me that it's great. I mean, I want people to come and tell me it's great, but I don't want them to like, I don't want it to be a false greatness. You know, I want it to be, I want the end result to be great. That's the main thing. Like, I want that final piece that I sent to you when you've said it's okay for you to go, I am so excited. This is done. This is great. So it's all about, you know, convincing the customer that they need to tell me, even if it is literally, it's all wrong, do it again. I'd rather them say that, you know, especially at the sketch stage. That's when they need to tell me the big things. But yeah, so those are the two kind of characters that I've done. And there's just, yeah, other stuff that I've done throughout.
They look amazing. And Genix posted a link to another one of your pieces
Oh,
that he suggested you talk about.
What's this one? Oh, yeah. So this one. So I have a repeating client who is absolutely the loveliest person in the world. And he is literally the only person that I will do watercolors for. Anyone else who asks me for watercolors, I say no, because I am not very good with watercolors. And this one, because of things like the kilt and stuff, is all been drawn by hand and things. I redid this 5 times, and this is why I don't do watercolors, is because I had to restart it. Like, it's not a Control Alt Delete type thing, you know. I can't Control Z or anything like that. Like, I have to start over. If it goes wrong, that's me done. And I kept messing up, and I got to the point where I was literally crying because it just kept going wrong, and I just couldn't get it right. And finally we got it right, and he loved it, and it was great. But he's literally the only person that I will do watercolors for, because he's wonderful. And like I say, he's a repeat customer, who's asked for a lot, and he says he's going to ask for a lot in the future, so he gets special treatment. Yeah, no watercolors even for Laser.
Oh my goodness.
Laser gets no
a
water.
serious line there.
But yeah, so he was one of the people who I'd said yes to about doing something. And in all fairness, the first watercolor I did for him went quite well. And then he came back and asked for a second one for a different thing. And that went wrong. And that just kept going wrong. But then he came back and asked for a third one. So obviously he was happy with the finished result. So I will always do watercolors for him, but no one else gets watercolors.
Are there any other types of materials, mediums, or art styles that you won't work in?
Pretty much anything that's like a paint. Acrylics, a no. Watercolors, a no. Oil paintings, I've never tried, but probably a no. Is there anything else? Chalk, like pastels, charcoals. Just anything that takes a lot of like very soft working, basically. I have a heavy hand, which is why digital's great for me, because you know you can't tear through digital paper.
You'd have to try really hard.
You really have to. You break this tablet before you do that. But yeah, that's a very expansive piece of paper. But yeah, no, it's traditional. Like, I can do like pencil work, and I can do like colored pencils and Copic markers, those type of things that I'm absolutely fine with, because those are things that I've worked with for years. Yeah, I was using Copic markers probably longer than I was doing digital art.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and I've been using pencils and stuff since, you know, I was a tiny baby. So it's like the thing that everyone starts off with. Like, I can use those, but things like paints, which I was always nervous about paints, because I didn't have that like detail, like I say, and it always went wrong with me, because I'm also impatient. I'm absolutely so impatient, and you have to wait with paints. You have to wait for them to dry, and it's like, I can't do that. I want it finished now. So yeah, paints are just a no-go for me, except for when it's my client, who I will do watercolors for, but no one else.
Are there some techniques in digital art that you really enjoy using and that you're excited to use when you need them?
Yes. So I absolutely love doing like, so when I get to the highlighting and the shadowing stage, um, this is just a very specific kind of part of the drawing, this bit, but I love doing the shading and the highlights because that's when the picture really pops. And I do that by using the multiply and the add glow filters and stuff like that. So I pick, so I do cold colors for the shading and then warm colors for the highlights. And that just really brings it out. Sometimes I'll kind of swap it up, like, but I love adding it's just one color as well. I usually use like blue for the shading, and it just comes out so nice and it just pops and it completes the piece, and it's my favorite thing to do. But I also love drawing. Like I use very specific pen brushes. Like I actually use on my Clip Studio. I use for the line art. What do I use? I use it so much that I've forgotten the watercolor. Ironically, I use the watercolor brush to do the line art rather than the pen tool because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. They feel different. It feels more natural, I think, than the pen tool, and it gives me I think it's a slightly softer but cleaner line. I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm not very good at explaining art things. I can do them, but I can't explain them. Um, but and is there any other techniques that I love? I mean, I think I just love the whole digital process. Really, for me, for instance, digital works really well for me because I do kind of a layered sketch where I don't have like one layer which is the sketch and then the final piece. I will do like 5 or 6 different sketch phases. There is a video which might show it. It's just a very quick video on my Instagram. Let me just link
Is it
that.
your time lapse one?
It is my time lapse one, yeah. So
I was able to grab that.
Work.
It's so nice.
Yeah. So I'll just work. I try and do very quick. Like I don't spend long on the first layer. It's just get a shape down, and kind of figure out which way, if it's a face, where is it looking, what's it doing, where's the eyes going to be. Get that down, put down the opacity on that, do the next layer, which is slightly more detailed, and just kind of build up on the details, bring down the opacity on the lower levels until you get to the point where you have the finished result, basically. So that's how I work. And you can't do that as easily on paper. And that's why I love digital, because it gives me that freedom to put loads of layers on top of each other.
That is amazing. I'm watching it as you're talking about it. It's beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm entranced.
So yeah, so that's
I'm just too excited. I keep pulling my earbuds out because they're wired.
It's okay if you don't want to hear me. It's fine. I'll talk about anything now.
No, okay, I won't listen. I'll just watch.
Cool, awesome. But yeah, so digital. I just love all digital stuff. I love learning digital things. I'm always learning new things with digital art as well. It's like, this is another thing. It's like you can go into a program and you could like spend years on a program and still not learn all of the tricks that you can do, and then you'll suddenly realize like, oh, I can do this. Like, because you've had to figure out how to do something. That's another thing that's been great with commissions as well, is like it's really forced me to look into what my software can do. Like the Affinity Designer was something I was fairly new to when I started doing like logo design and stuff like that. So I was quite new to it. I'd played about with it a little bit before, but I really was very basic. And then I started like watching YouTube videos and just finding tutorials everywhere I could and just learning, because somebody wanted something to do something that I couldn't do. So I had to figure out how the program worked. So digital's great.
I'm muted from the Teddy Borks. What are some things that people often don't realize are involved with making digital art, whether it's the technology or the techniques?
Oh, I mean, so I suppose one of the biggest things, and this is a big bugbear for me, is it's more a case of people think that digital art is a lot easier than traditional art. Like because there's this weird misconception that you are literally pressing a button and it'll do the work for you, and it's not. I am still drawing. It just happens to be that the medium is pixels rather than graphite. So that's kind of, I think that's a very big misconception. It takes me, I would say it actually takes me longer to do a digital piece than to do a drawing. Like if I'm doing like a full color drawing, even with Copic markers, I'm doing that quicker than I'm doing a digital piece, because I I have it's almost I have more freedom with the digital to perfect it better than I do with the traditional. So I spend more time perfecting it. But also it's a medium like anything else. So and I think people don't seem to realize that you still have to put in the effort to make anything good. Like there's people who, will trace, but people will trace in traditional stuff as well. It's not like, it's not like it's only a digital thing that people will trace and stuff like that. But I think it's just, people need to understand that it's just a medium at the end of the day. And also I think as well, people have this weird misconception that if you use any of the tools in like software, like for instance, I use something that's called stabilization for my pen work, on the digital thing, which is basically it stops your lines being quite so wobbly. It's kind of straightens them out a bit, because obviously when you're doing digital, the pen is very it's not quite natural like paper. It's a digital thing. Your software's picking up the movements, but it's picking up more movements than maybe it should do. So lines wobble. So stabilization helps just smooth those out a bit and give that really nice clean look. And a lot of people seem to think that that's cheating, and it's not. It is a tool. And again, it's just all about like people understanding that as long as you are not plagiarizing, use the tools that you've got. That's my biggest takeaway. Is like digital art is great because we can do things like we couldn't do before, but it's still a medium. It's still my work that's being put there at the end of the day. It's not a computer's work. It's what I've drawn. So yeah, that's my big thing.
For whatever reason, it made me think of TikTok. And if you had an account, I don't know if you do, it would be funny to kind of have scenes back and forth of you just going like this on the keyboard and then art happening somehow magically. I don't know why that's where my brain went, but yeah, it definitely still takes skill. It takes experience. It takes technique and talent. Even if you stabilize your lines, you still need to have all those other things.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I have to still sketch it at the end of the day and stuff like that. It doesn't magically appear, but yeah. So it's a real big bug of everything. I think it's getting better now, just like because this was especially like when I was doing this like 15 years ago. Like this was it was still quite a new form, and it's becoming more common now. Like people have their iPads that they draw on now and things like that. It's becoming more widely available for people to actually have software. So I think people are understanding it better, whereas before it was kind of it's this mysterious thing and we don't understand
technology.
It. Exactly. Magical technology. So yeah, I think it's getting better. But it's always been something that's just bugged me when I've seen people talk about it.
So you've mentioned that the stabilization, the other things you can do with the tools that you have, are there any features that you wish digital drawing, I guess, technology, software, hardware could do that it can't do yet?
Is there anything? I mean, see, the thing is, I think there is software that for almost everything now. Like there might not be stuff that I can do on the software that I use, but software has become so advanced in recent years. Like there's literally programs that will mimic kind of the bleed of watercolor now, like so that it literally looks like an actual watercolor and stuff like that. And you actually have to, because I've got this software. I don't like it because it's too much like watercolor. But like it has like you have to like dry up areas. You have to dry up because you wet the paper. You digitally wet the paper. It spreads like watercolor, and then you have to dry areas, and it's beyond me. But it's like I think like technology is covering so much. I can't think of anything that there isn't something out there that could be done by something these days. Is there anything? Yeah. No, I can't. Other than, I mean, I don't know. This is probably actually a thing, but like drawing 2D things and having something kind of created to 3D. I'm fairly sure there's something that'll do that. I don't know. 3D is not my thing. Again, that's something I'd love to try at some point. But like just like sketching out the 2D like views and then having something make you, that would be great. If I could find something that would do that for me, that would be
That would be
wonderful.
exciting.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, there's really nothing that I can think of that isn't already somewhere on digital software somewhere. So
Well, I'm glad that there's nothing you feel at the moment is lacking that you can't find.
yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful time to be into digital art, and that's not sarcasm. I know I sound sarcastic, but it's great. Like as well, there's so much like there's free software and stuff that is so powerful these days. GIMP is rubbish. Don't ever use it. Um, but there's like this is a big thing. Like people like there's people who either hate GIMP or love GIMP, and I'm very much I hate GIMP. It was one of the original free softwares, like open source. And it was literally when I started, you had Photoshop or you had GIMP, and I had Photoshop because I wouldn't use GIMP, and Photoshop is expensive and GIMP is free, but I'd still pay for Photoshop. But there's Krita now, which is Krita, which is also free, and that is I would say on par with the Clip Studio Paint that I use, and that's free. The Clip Studio is not free. The Krita is free, but it's so powerful. And there's if you're wanting to do vector art, there's Inkscape, which is again really rubbish. Don't use it, but it is there. There's less for vector art, I'd have to say, but it's getting there. Like I said before, I use Affinity Designer, which is just it's getting there. Like it's becoming like competing with Adobe Illustrator. It's not got quite everything that people would want, but it's literally like I think it's like one like tool away from people switching. Like if they can get in the next iteration of it, like one more tool in, I think most people will switch to that. And that's really cheap compared to a Photoshop and Illustrator right now. Like you pay, I think it's like maybe about $50. So it was about £50, so maybe $60 or something like that. But that's like, and you've bought it rather than paying subscription. For anyone who's had to like who knows about the whole thing of Adobe and you having to pay a ridiculous subscription fee to use their software, Affinity Design is great. Use it. But yeah, it's just, I mean, there's so much these days that and free or cheap and open source, and just you'll find if there's something that's expensive, you will find some sort of free version of it somewhere. Not free version of it, but a tool that is similar, and that's just what is amazing these days.
That is, and I so appreciate you going through that list with everyone, because that's going to be an amazing resource for people who are interested in doing some sort of digital art.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody like wants to ask me anything about digital art or software or something, feel free to message me, because I've tried most of them. I've tried a lot of them at least, so I can tell you stuff. So I can do that if you want any information. Not so much for anything that's like movie making or stuff like that. I can't tell you that, but software for art, I can absolutely tell you.
Fantastic. And looking forward for your art, for your freelancing in your business, what are some things that you're hoping to do?
So looking forward, I'm really wanting to kind of expand out with my Twitch stuff. So right now, obviously, I'm very heavy on the emotes. I'm currently looking at expanding into doing panel banners, like the panels, like little banners, things like that. Kind of working on doing stuff like that. I've actually got a commission for that, which I'm going to start working on next week. But I'd love to start doing more stuff like that. I'm pulling away from other kind of commissions, or just kind of looking at starting to up my prices a bit on certain things that may have been a bit too low, to begin with. So just kind of really narrowing down my commission side of things to Twitch, and logos, and maybe a couple of other things, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still kind of finalizing my kind of commission lists. And my Etsy, I'm really kind of looking at expanding on that. So my Etsy's kind of been sitting there, and I mean, like, I've not done much with it. I've been managing to get maybe 1 or 2 sales a week from not doing anything with it. So I can't complain too much, but I'm really going to start moving into doing that a bit more. Like, so on my Etsy, I sell my stickers and my keychains and my badges. So I've got that Etsy that I'm going to start working on more. I'm going to be setting up other Etsy's that are going to focus more on commercial digital products for people who like might want to just get generic pictures for things, and that they can have a commercial license for those. So that's kind of going to be something else that I'm going to be working on. I'm also going to be working on creating fonts and things, which will also be going into that. So I'm going to start doing fonts and things like that. So I've got a whole host of things that I'm going to start working on.
That is so
And I'm also,
exciting.
I know it's great. I'm really looking forward to like working on that. I've got my whole schedule now where I've got like 1.5 days where I focus on my Etsy and focus on my commissions and stuff like that. And I'm also going to hopefully eventually start putting up tutorials and things like that. Primarily they're going to be like, I'm going to be doing Skillshare hopefully, but I might also start doing just free YouTube tutorials and things like that, and just kind of build my brand, get a bit more out there, and hopefully get more on Twitch as well. Like I say, I've started getting back up to my 2 days a week. So I do, on a Monday I do my crafting in the afternoon, and then the Saturday is my just chat and chill with my partner Genix. So that's kind of thing. But I'm kind of hoping to get at least one more Twitch stream in a week, kind of just to be out more basically, and just to hang with the community a bit more. So that's my plans for this next 2 years. I'd say that's probably all going to come in to fruition.
That sounds absolutely amazing, and I am so excited to see all of this come to fruition for you, because I have no doubt that it will. I think we're all going to see some amazing Seska things, Seska items. It's going to be amazing. And before we close out the interview, is there anything else you'd like to share or promote?
I mean, I've been talking about him all night. There's Laser Geek. I should probably promote. Everyone should follow Laser Geek. Is there anything? I mean, I could. Can I put my Etsy store on the thing?
Oh, please do. Yes, I wanted to ask you, what is the name of your Etsy store? How can people find you there?
I think that's right. Hang on. I typed it and I'm not sure if that's right. Yeah, there we go. That's me. So that's my Etsy store.
That is perfect. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
So yeah, so that's it's kind of a bit quiet at the moment, but I've got products that I'm currently working on, like magnets and things like that, that will be going up in the next kind of 2 or 3 weeks, and that's going to be a continuous thing. So yeah,
Your Setsimo, as the drive said.
Setsimo.
Amazing.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, don't know. You should all follow each other. That's something.
Everybody follow everybody.
Everybody follow everybody. You're all great. I love you all.
That is so fun. And I'm going to give you one more shout out. No, I was about to shout out Laser Geek. Oh my gosh, this has become the Seskimo and Laser Geek show. Oh my goodness. But this has been absolutely amazing. Yes, Jenix said I would love to see some more. What did we call it? Seskimo Creations.
Seskimo Creation.
We keep saying Greek. Oh my gosh. And anyone who's in chat, if you have any questions that haven't been answered, make sure to put them in the chat. And I'm trying to think what else I would like to share. I don't have my stream schedule. Yes, you first.
I'm sorry. I just remembered one more thing. We don't know when it's going to happen yet, but there is going to be a collab between me and Marked Chords, which I should probably just talk about. We haven't decided when yet, but it's going to be. So I'm going to be doing art while he does music. Basically, it's going to be a joint creative thing, and that will happen. We've talked about it. I just need to decide a date, basically, but that's going to happen probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So make sure you're following Mark Chords because it's going to be on his channel because he's better at OBS than I am.
Oh my God. So let me give Mark Chords a quick shout out there. Perfect. And
Brilliant.
what was I going to say? So my stream schedule I'm working on for my crafting, etc. But in 2 weeks from today, which is the 21st of March, 7 p.m. Eastern, the next guest is going to be the Raiders from today, Jesse, Rachel, FL. So Jesse and Rachel, they are amazing Pokemon Go streamers.
Oh, nice.
And I just found them organically. I've loved their streams, and one of my favorite things to do is have their stream up during Pokemon events, community days, things like that for the game, because positive vibes only in their community, and they are so fun and so energetic and have some fun redeems. And if you're into Pokemon Go, I highly recommend following them. But we're going to be talking about becoming Pokemon Go streamers, but also they were recently partnered on Twitch, and we'll chat with them about that and their journey there. Yeah, so that I think we're going to be able to learn a lot about them and from them, which is going to be fantastic. And one last thing.
Well done on the
Yes, and congratulations, both of you. And one last thing, I held up this bag of pins before. So finally, for those of you who don't know, starting last year, I'm going to be hosting an annual Makers and Crafters and Artists holiday gift exchange where people are randomly paired up, and it's not a secret exchange where you know who you get and you can really tailor a gift to them. But part of the one from 2020, and we'll have it in future ones too, is a fundraiser where we had a logo made by the only 29 Fireflies. So let me shout her out quickly. And each year is going to have a slightly different badge, and we turned it into pins. This year, or the 2020 fundraiser, all profits from the pin, I'm not making any money from it. So outside the actual cost and the shipping cost to you, the profits are going towards Artist Relief Project. So let me put that quickly here. It is artistreliefproject.org. And what they do is provide short-term stipends and long-term resources to artists and creators who have been impacted by COVID. And so I think it's really important to support that endeavor, and that's where that money is going to go. It's pastel, pink, purple, and blue. So that's what that is. And Seskimo, as our guest of honor, would you like to choose who we raid?
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Who should we do? I think Snow People would be good.
Oh my gosh, who did that? Who did that? Saki, no. So for those of you who didn't see it, if you scroll down, I have a sound alerts panel that I forgot to deactivate for the stream. But a lot of them are funny sounds taken from clips from other people's streams, and that was Sasaki Woodworks, who probably did that for the shout out. No, I'm kidding. It's just funny, and he was being polite and not playing it during the interview. But that was after Saki is very polite and wonderful. Follow him, talented, amazing, thoughtful. But that was from his stream where he was enticed, I suppose, to put on his Chewbacca vest after a huge hype train. And that was the
Run,
result.
run, 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 run.
Please be Saki doing all of these. Okay, so let me shout out Boyd. I already did before, but why isn't it working? Weird. Okay, I think that worked. Boyd, you're not here. But that was Boyd Chainsaw, and I have no idea what the context for that was. I don't remember for the life of me. But those are fantastic. So did I stall enough? Seskimo, did you choose someone?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with Snow Peep.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm not typing in. Okay, let me make sure I'm spelling that right. And we're gonna go see what Snow Peep is up to. I have her. Let me see what she's up to. Blah. Ooh, rewiring a vintage 2-arm lamp at the finish. So it looks like she's probably at the end of that. SNO.
Oh.
Let's see. PEEP. So if you could all join us in heading over to Snow Peep's channel, that would be amazing. Show her some support and see what she's working on. She does some really cool projects. I know before she was doing some miniatures. I don't know what they were made out of, but she was doing some miniatures of some sort. And when I first started following her, she was refinishing a table or a desk because it had drawers and things. So that was really cool to watch. So I'm excited to see what she's working on right now. Oh, Tribe, you're so welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Blapple. I made them. I had to make those sound alerts. Oh my gosh. I had to clip the scene and then go in and download the clip and take the audio and clip that too. But yeah, I made those. But thank you, everyone, so much, Seskimo. Thank you. Let's get another shout out for Seskimo. Everyone, if you're not following her already, I highly recommend it, both for the art and for the anger.
Yeah, the anger, yeah. Come for the art, stay for the anger.
Exactly. So this has been fantastic. Let me make sure I'm going to be a pro streamer and get in Snow Peep stream before we head over.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh, Seskimo, you are so welcome. This has been absolutely amazing. And if you're a sub, feel free to grab those Riot emotes. I don't have an actual raid call or anything like that. Not a sub, come up with whatever you'd like. But 9 seconds left. I will see you all there. Thanks. See you next time.